Oh boy. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Oh, I just didn't even. It says it's okay. I gotta catch it when it comes on. Oh, it's already muted. Sweet. Um. All right. So I already got the email from YouTube that I'm streaming. So I guess. Oh yeah, I am live because I'm on the live dashboard. Duh. What are those? Let's read. Francis of the Filth by George Miller. 1 out of 5. So. Hmm. How am I gonna? How am I gonna start this? Wait, not that. Um. Wait, did the thumbnail update or something? No, I don't know. All right. So, oh boy, I'm making some mistakes already. Okay. So, how do I? Okay. Okay. So, welcome to another Let's Read. If you're watching, I'm gonna wait a few minutes. People show up, they show up, and if they don't, they don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if yeah, I am late. I'm half an hour late. Uh, I was I was editing Destin to Discord, and I got too carried away with it, and I lost track of time. So, oops. Um, so tonight we're reading Francis of the Filth. Uh, Now if you were here for my previous Let's Read, uh, you would or not would know, but like it was a pretty edgy read, and I decided after like recent things to discontinue it. Oof. Uh, right now I'm just trying to push out the stream, but I decided to discontinue the Stephen King Let's Read or whatever, the Rage book or whatever, because of the recent things. So I mean I didn't. Ugh. I don't know. I was anxious about it. Uh, why am I scrolling through Twitter? I'm live streaming. Did I tweet the right thing? I hope I did. I hope I just tweeted. Yeah, it's the link to the live stream. Okay. So, I decided to discontinue the Stephen King Let's Read because well the recent things that happened. I don't want to say recent events because I feel like recent events is just such a like a an overused statement. By the way, the apartment you see right now is it's the first setting I believe in the book. I don't know. That's why I have it on. I'm okay. I'm reading Francis of the Filth, the Filthy Frank novel by George Miller. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of worried about this too because there's a big copyright thing and like the first page of the book, which okay, here's my defense against it. Okay, first of all, it's been 2 years. Sorry, I'm late again. You're not late, Godzilla boy. You're like the only one here. So so it's been 2 years, almost 2 years already since it's been out. Actually, a month from today, it will be 2 years since it's been published. So by now everybody probably has the book if they wanted it. They even stopped selling or stopped selling or making the hardback whatever editions on Amazon. You can only get the paperback editions from Amazon, and like other sellers have the hardback, but you can't get like the original, or not the original. Like you gotta get it from a third party. What's it called? A third party seller if you want the hardback. So, oh well. My other thing is like I'm not profiting off it. I just want the watch time. I just want the watch time. Um, and also, I think it'd be a nice opportunity for people who miss Filthy Frank, I guess, and they haven't read the book, cause I've heard a lot of maybe like two. I've heard two where people were like, I bought the book, but I didn't have the time to read it, or yeah, they didn't feel like reading it or whatever, and you know, I don't know, maybe this is like a chance for them to get caught up on it or whatever, cause like it's an alright story, and I didn't mind it, but like I don't know, I also feel like this might end up on the bad shelf if I'm being honest, after a second or not a second reread, but like after a reread. But who knows? I hope my mic's okay. Oof. Man, I really hope that thumbnail is updated for everybody else in the Discord. Where is everybody? Where is everybody? Oh no. Also, I'm just trying to. Waste some time and see if people show up. So, the goal is 3 chapters tonight, I think. I think it'd be 3 or 4 chapters. How many chapters are in here? I think there might be 15 and then an epilogue. So, like, it'd be 3 chapters a night. Or a stream. Chicken strips. Oh, boy. Let's see. I'm looking for how many chapters. Okay. Chapter 15. So, there's 15 chapters and an epilogue. So, like, really 16. I think I'll throw in the epilogue with the last episode or last stream or whatever of this. So, yeah. And I know there's also audiobooks on YouTube as well, but, like, the one that went, like, the farthest into the book was one that was, like, up to chapter 4. So, like, I don't know. I think people are still looking for it. I hope. What's up? Not Zenota? I don't know. Did I say it right? I probably didn't. Oof. I do have my notes for this book with me too. I tucked them into the back of the book. Oh boy. What time is it? I'll start at 10 minutes. So, I have a few, not a few things, but like, here, am I on the right? Okay. So, when we're reading the book, I'm going to put, where is he? Pink guy up. He'll be in the top left-hand corner when we're reading. Then when we're discussing, on the top right-hand corner, we'll have Salamander Man. Or, did I say it right? How does Pink Guy say it in the videos? It's been so long since I watched pronounced Zenokta. Okay. I don't know how Pink Guy says Salamander Man. Salamander Man. Oh boy, that's another thing I'm probably saying wrong too. Oof. So when we're reading, we get Pink Guy, and when we're discussing, because I plan to discuss the book, I guess. I guess. So I read this book around the time it first came out, which was like late September, early October, and I read the first paragraph earlier, and it just brought me back to that time. I was like, oh wow, it feels just like fall. I don't get those seasonal feelings anymore for whatever reason. I don't know. I miss them. What is it? The literary analysis review of Francis of the Filth still remains my most viewed video on my channel too. So I don't know. I guess I'm not escaping the book anytime soon. I don't know. Let's see. What did I know I wanted to mention something else. Can't think of it though. Hmm. Uh. Hmm. All right. I think I could start. I hope I got everything I wanted to mention. I hope I did. All right. Francis of the Filth. Wait. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to put Minecraft music in the back. I wanted to put Minecraft music in the back because that's what I do. That's what I do on streams for some reason, just to have like relaxed stuff in the background. Full Minecraft soundtrack alpha beta used. Hmm. I don't know. Playlist. Playlist. All right. We'll do this. Let's see. I can't tell how loud the music's being. Oh boy. Huh. Oh no. Wait. Wait, I gotta do window capture if I. Or do I? Oh boy. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. I'm an amateur. I'm an amateur. Ah. Alright. Bruh Incorporated. Wow, it's been 2 years since the book came out. Yeah, it's been so long. Okay. I gotta find a light. Okay, I'll just turn my light on. I'm sitting in the dark anyway. Just turn the light on. I probably need the light on anyway. Alright. Francis of the Filth. I'm not putting on Minecraft music. Okay? I gotta. I'll do it next stream if I can figure it out. I don't know how I got it for the last few. Or the last two Let's Reads, because there's been two now. Okay. Francis of the Filth by George Miller. This book is about a character and has no relation to the author. Francis of the Filth. Alright. You boys ready? Chapter 1. I forgot to put pink eye on. I forgot to put pink eye on. We're reading. Yeet. Yeet. Do you have a Discord? Nope. I don't have a Discord server, if that's what you're asking. I might do that one day if there's like enough. Ender, what's up? I hope I am not too late. No. I haven't even started reading chapter 1 yet. You came close though. You came close. But if there's enough like demand for a Discord server, I could probably hook one up. I got connections. I got very minimal connections, but I got connections. Alright, Chapter 1. A long time ago, in a dimension far, far away, there was a collective of midgets fighting over a hummus sack who have nothing at all to do with our story, which really begins in a small and very unhygienic bedroom in what humans call New York. It was at first appearance a common habitat. Last Tuesday's ramen floating on a carpet of used tissues, unwashed socks, chewing gum-clogged USB sticks, and bottles of urine stacked up in a pyramid. Poorly written Japanese calligraphy scrolls hanging on the walls between cracked mirrors, and old, proudly displayed high school detention slips, and semen stains on the ceiling. I don't like the punctuations and stuff, because like there's barely any periods. There's just a bunch of like semicolons or whatever they're called. It reads like a run-on sentence a lot. Not a run-on sentence because there is punctuation, but whatever. Yet on closer inspection, there was at the same time something unique about this habitat as well, grotesque to the point of disfigurement and disconcerting to the point of alarm. There lay in the middle of it all, rather happily, blending in as though one with it, Francis of the Filth. He was covered in nothing but phlegm and a pair of SpongeBob underpants, which could stand on their own and would most certainly shatter like glass if thrown at a hard surface. It sounds like a lot like that one, the one Family Guy gag with Chris's blanket. I can't believe I remember that. I flushed Family Guy out of my brain so bad. I've watched it so many times when it was on Netflix, and I don't know. I just don't remember anything from it. Well, I remember that though, I guess. Oh, that's from that Family Guy was mentioned in Weeaboos too. That's right. Screw you, Weeaboo Jones. I like Family Guy. Okay. Though dead to the world, he would occasionally whimper utterances which were a window into the mind of filth that beheld his name and title. No, Jules Santana. Please don't touch me there. Female comedians are very funny. Most must eat more hummus. I think that's hummus. Oh boy. I will be reading along with you, so that will be easier to concentrate on. I tune in and you make a Family Guy joke. Happy face. No, that's a sad face. It's in the book. It's on the first page of the book. All right. What is hummus? I gotta look that up. I gotta open up. I have this Minecraft music playing. No one's listening to it. I'm not even listening to it, so I'm just giving whoever has the video uploaded watch time. I know Jenkum's mentioned in here, and Jenkum's like fermented feces. Oh, it is hummus. Okay, it's a dip. It's a cheap dip. All right, let me go back to chat. Where was I? The other kids won't let me play in the park. It's my turn to ride the chocolate man. The school bus is responsible for their deaths, not me. Yes, it was I who left the steamy surprise. My stepdad was a veiny individual. Oh boy. Need more rants. Curiously, and without warning, a second voice could be heard whispering through the Dorian-scented air of the room. I hope it's Dorian. Oh, chinchinga daisuki daio. A chinchinga daisuki daio. For a moment, the words just floated in the air like they were struggling to cut through the stench. They were repeated. Oh, chinchinga daisuki daio. This time, they reached the ears of our protagonist, yet they remained muffled till he instinctively picked at his ear and pulled out a log of wax the size of a date. Oh boy. A third call. I like that, the size of a date. A wax GF. A third calling brought the desired effect, and Frank sat bolt upright, with that terrified look that only comes from hearing Christian rap played in the morning and seeing the Dark Lord himself. Oh, chinching a daisuke daio! Part of the ceiling then opened up like a wet pouch, pulsing and pushing out what looked like, for lack of a better description, a black fetus. Whoa. Still screaming, it slid onto the ground and began to unfold. Dressed completely in black, it was as though he was very source of darkness itself. His presence seemed to bring a distortion of the space-time continuum, and when he spoke it brought both shadows and chills. He prowled slowly before Frank on all fours like a frog with chronic arthritis. His tongue occasionally darted in and out, almost in rhythm to the Tourette's-like flinching of his tightly wrapped black head. Everything about him incited dread. His darkness, his movements, his uncut finger and toenails. But most of all, it was his eyes. the marker eyes. Oh, chin and dice and die. Oh, weird and freaky to the core, they were simultaneously present and ethereal. What is it? No, because ephemeral. I'm thinking of Ephemeral Rift or whatever the ASMR channel is. I don't know. Ethereal. Maybe that's what it is. Pretending and all-knowing, and they started out from their sockets with spastic abandon. Chin, Dark Lord, why have you come to torment me? Oh, maybe I should do it. Maybe I should try a Filthy Frank voice. Yeah. Chin. No. As in Chin. Okay, I can't. I gotta think. eth ethereal? Ethereal? Ethereal. It's probably ethereal. Ethereal. Ethereal? I don't know. Let's try and get this filthy Frank impression down. Chinchin, Dark Lord, why have you come to torment me? Have you come to send me into the abyss? Frank asked. That doesn't sound like filthy Frank. Paralyzed with fear. Or would it be better if I just read it seriously? Now Frank lived across a back street from a morbidly obese lady called Mrs. Montez, who pretended to be a widowed pole dancer. Widowed pole dancer, but was really a PETA agent determined to catch Frank in the act of animal abuse. She was, however, actually widowed. That part is true. She had almost had a miscarriage. She observed Frank through a humongous telescope, which was really quite unnecessary because the back street was only 5 feet wide and their windows directly faced each other. She would sit for hours watching Frank lie comatose from huffing jenkum. There's the jenkum reference. Just as he would sit for hours keeping a protective eye on the 10-year-old... Oh no, I remember this joke. I know this joke. This is the joke from what is it? Santa's brother or whatever. I regret giving my book away. Oof. What is it? People keep asking me to if I'm giving away Diary of a Supreme Gentleman. Like, that's discontinued. I'm never giving away Diary of a Supreme Gentleman. Like, they don't even talk about that anymore. No one talks about Diary of a Supreme Gentleman anymore. Oof. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just as he would sit for hours keeping a protective eye on that 10-year-old boy with the nice little ass living across the street in front of his apartment. Okay. You know, that joke really got me the first time, when in the video and in the book. Now it's just kind of... It's just like every other joke, really, it feels like. I've heard it once. I heard it, and now it's not as good. I swear this story is too much for my undisciplined brain. Let's see. She befriended Frank by telling him she was simply checking on his fiber intake and occasionally throwing fruit through his window, whether it was open at the time or not. When she saw the horrors of Chin Chin unfolding in Frank's room, she threw open her window and cried out for mercy. "Leave him alone, he's just a boy." Within moments, "Leave him alone, he's just a boy." Within moments, other neighbors with similarly large telescopes were throwing their windows... Oh, so they're all spying on Frank? For throwing their windows open and hurling their emotive pleas toward the Dark Lord, and soon the whole back alley echoed with the words, "He's just a boy! He's just a boy! He's just a boy!" Much like any Italian neighborhood. "Oh, Chin Chin," the Dark Lord continue with his demands. I have made the sacrifices you asked for," said Frank. The blood and pubic hair and nail clippings of 1,000 youths were all duly provided with video evidence. I can show you right now. Why do you need extra sacrifices? Weren't those I made enough? Frank was quivering with trepidation. Accurate grandma voice you have. Thanks. I don't know if I was trying to be grandma. He's just a boy. Oh, Chin Chin. Oh, Chin Chin. I swear, I have no more. I have given you everything I had. I have no more chromosomes to give. He's just a boy. The cries continued to ring out through the alleyways and over the building tops. Oh, Chin Chin, oh! Oh no, a Chinchinga ice ski. Oh, I don't know. He placed his hands on Frank's trembling heart and absorbed the remaining chromosomes from him. With that, he quickly crawled back into his giant wet ceiling pussy, leaving Frank a quivering empty shell on the bed. Oof. Nothing like a good old shell. Once the shock waves had subsided, and the space-time continuum had returned to normal, fear departed and life returned to normal in Frank's bedroom. That is, Frank sat on his bed and scratched his balls. He looked around to reorientate himself. Reorient. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at reading himself. Then, very faintly at first, other activity began around his room. Initially, it started with just the lightest of movements from the cupboard door. It budged just a fraction, then a fraction more. Then it peeped ajar. Finally, the door swung open and out jumped a semi-naked little runt carrying some rosary beads. "Alpha Centurion!" Frank exclaimed. "Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for all your support a minute ago when Chin Chin was here." He waddled over to Frank and sat on the bed beside him. "Good to see you too, Frank, fucking tool. Good thing I wasn't here a minute ago when the Dark Lord was here, or I would have snapped his dick in two. I would have pounded those creepy black eyes of his all the way to the back of his head. I would have reached into his chest, pulled out his still beating heart, and held it up to his face so he could see how black it is." "Alpha Centurion, what are you talking about? I saw you hiding in the cupboard. Also, you owe me money. You came up short." The clock on the wall suddenly opened up, and from it a tiny, wrinkled human stuck his head out and said, "That was a great joke, Frank. 7 out of 10. They aggressively winked at each other. The little guy returned back into the clock, never to be heard from again. I think that's accurate. I don't think he's ever heard from again. Before the runt could respond, the bedroom door swung open to the sound of disabled grunts, and in hopped a determined-looking guy, pink from head to toe. "Pink guy, is that you? You're here too? You made it. You just missed all the action, by the way. You're a pussy too, you know that? You and Alpha Centurion are both a couple of pussies. Leaving me to face Chin Chin all on my own? It was pretty scary for a while there." On hearing the Dark Lord's name, Pink Eye's eyes were stunned wide open. He could not understand how Frank ever had the courage to say Chin Chin's name out loud. Is my computer like... I hear my computer. My computer is being pretty loud. Alright. At that moment, a rustling noise came up from under Frank's bed. "Come out, Salamander Man, I know it's you." "Yes," came the reply as the huge humanoid salamander peeped out from under the bed. "Salamander Man, what are you doing under my bed? Have you any idea of the filth that lies under there? I tell you, there's some nasty stuff down there." Ooh, we're almost done with chapter 1. "Yes." He pulled himself fully out and immediately began to caress his nipples. He was now completely back in his normal self. All his lacerations had healed and his nipples were back to full erection. Whatever wretched woundings had previously disturbed him, he was back to his normal, cheerful self again. "Yes," he cried, and immediately inserted a recorder into his left nostril and broke into a rousing rendition of a tune from his glory days. That's weird. Each paragraph is separated by like a space, but not these paragraphs for some reason. Unless, yeah, these few paragraphs don't have a space in between them. I'm completely invested now. I hate this. Like my computer's just, the fan's just running. I gotta close some tabs or something. Let's see. 6 viewers though. That's pretty decent. Wait. Oh boy. Before Alpha Centurion could start dancing to the music, or Frank could compliment him on his playing or his general good looks and sick moves, the door was kicked wide open, and in strolled... Oh, it's Safari Man. A strange Japanese man wearing brown spectacles, a Hawaiian shirt, and a safari hat. "Wow!" he declared. "Wow, Franco! "Safari Man!" cried Frank, ecstatic that his whole posse was reunited once again. "I thought you were still back in..." No, let's not go there. Suffice to say, being married to a Negi was never going to work out for someone like me. Ha ha ha. She had no pussy. Can you imagine aggressively trying to make a dent in drywall with your dick? Not for me. He was shadowed by Drone, who hovered just above his left shoulder. Frank gestured for them all to come together. They embraced in a tight and passionate group hug, with Alpha Centurion burrowing with pleasure into Pink Guy's thighs. With the six of them now together, the circus was pretty much complete again, and there was much rejoicing until late in the night, with laughing and dancing and general scat. But Frank's dilemma remained, and his interest was piqued. He was still capable of multiplying his chromosomes, and he was still greatly troubled by this, not merely the compatibility, but the reasoning behind it. Why would any god want to see the multiplication of his chromosomes and no one else's? Why had Chin Chin, the all-powerful god, chosen him? Why was Frank so verbally and sexually aggressive all the time? He was no closer to finding out why. There had to be more. Beyond the Peace Lords, there had to be an ultimate God. Frank was more determined now than ever before to find him, confront him, and demand the answers to his questions. And so his quest became all-consuming. But this is by no means where it had begun. Everyone is here. Wow. How convenient. Alright. So, I don't think this really, I don't know. I don't know if that's... Because this isn't definitely, the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book starts... I'm pretty sure chapter 2... Oh. Discussion. It's Salamander Man time. Salamander Man. There we go. Alright. So, I think the book... the story begins with Frank in a lab. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I see Hail Hitler on page 15. So I guess, yeah, I think I know what I'm talking about. So let's see. We got Alpha Centurion, Salamander Man, Pink Guy, Drone, Safari Man, and Frank. Right? That's the six. That's the Super Six. Yeah. The squad is 6. There's the circus 6. Yeah. How long is chapter 2? Holy crap, it's 12 pages. Oh boy. Okay. Pink guy time. Let's bang this out. Chapter 2. All children except for one grow up. And all children except for one are born of woman. In the spring of 1945, a fetus-like infant was retrieved from an open-air sewer beneath a public toilet in a slum in the Lorong village of Jakarta. He was named Franciscus, meaning freed from filth. And from the first moment of his existence, and in spite of his squalid genesis, he demonstrated an unparalleled genius. At first there was a moment of crying, then cooing, very shortly followed by clear linguistic utterances. By the time the authorities arrived some hours later, he was writing quadratic equations on the wall in his own excrement. Excrement on walls was nothing new to the locals, and explaining them in Aramaic to the crowd which had gathered. For the next 2 weeks, he was taken in by a family of 28 running a local temple. They lived over a fetid? No, it's fetid, right? Fettuccine. I don't know. I don't. All right. I'll look it up later. I'm lying. Fetid brown creek with the smell of a pig farm, and there he was fed and clothed and loved. Because of his brilliant mind and progressive knowledge, he was quickly treated as a god in the village, and people would line up to pet his head in the hope of having knowledge imparted to them. He thrived in the grime of his environment, growing rapidly in stature and intellect, and soon had the appearance of a toddler while engineering sanitation, transport systems, and birth control for the whole community. This way, He no longer needed to circumcise the women. Oh boy. Word spread quickly about Francisca. What is it? Yeah, female circumcision. I'm pretty sure, like, it closes it off, right? And like, what is it? Like, it gets sewn up. Like there's a part that gets taken out, and then it's sewn up, and then you have to rip it open. Okay, I probably shouldn't talk about this on YouTube of all places. Oh wait, no, the stream's an educational stream. I remember. Why isn't Salamander Man on the screen? Whatever. Word spread quickly about Franciscus, and soon the Indonesian military were on where his doorstep would be if the temple had a doorstep. There was much wailing and moaning as the young prodigy was ripped from their arms, and... Oh, wait. Did I skip? No. And a torrent of semi-naked bodies followed along the vehicles as they departed, banging on the windows and doors and begging them to return him to them. Their hopes were never realized. They were gunned down, all of them, the Temple family, their neighbors, and all who had come out to protest, their bodies piled as high as horses' shoulders for as far as the eye could see. Salang! I don't know what that means. A soldier yelled at the families. This was not Indonesian. He had a speech impediment. Franciscus was taken to a top-secret facility deep in the mountains there. After a brief period of quarantine, so-called experts, though they had never seen anything of Franciscus's like before, began to feed his voracious curiosity. Ferocious curiosity. No. Yeah, voracious. Whatever. It's probably like a synonym for fast. Intellect and abilities. They were in awe. They began with little golden books and tic-tac-toe, but were before long working on James Joyce and global thermonuclear warfare. Apart from the old foray into hentai and erotic art, Franciscus adhered strictly to academic and ethical pursuits. Oh boy, I need to learn to read. Scientists from all over the world began to hear rumors of this prodigy and would try to arrange secretive visits to Franciscus' cell. Ooh, he was being held in a cell? Oof. There. The lucky few... Oh, wait. I gotta bring up the... Why am I being bothered by this? Let's see. We're not in the apartment anymore. We're kind of in the lab now. Yay! Yeah, we did mention scientists. There, the lucky few would marvel over the possibilities he brought into the world. Was he a god? They wondered. A mutation? Should he be encouraged or stopped? Their audience with Franciscus was inevitably inspiring and humbling, and was often coupled with an intoxicating agenda. Despite the highly classified nature of the project, to which Franciscus was now referred, and the isolated location of its facilities, one day several months into operations, a blonde-haired man in a very dark suit turned up unannounced at the front gate. He flashed some identification and was escorted into the heart of the complex. There he was introduced to the overseer of the program, looking his Indonesian colleague in the eye with a curious expression that could have been mistaken for contempt. He removed his spectacles and raised his palm. Hail Hitler. Oh boy. That's dangerous. That's a Nazi right there. You don't mess around with the Nazis. In the summer of that year, the Pacific War was brought to an end with two it's World War II, so the Nazis don't matter anymore, right? With two I know the freaking word. Not gonna lie, some phrases could be put together instead of separating them. I think it's giving unnecessary pauses to the reading. Yeah. Okay. Giant explosions. They destroyed everyone and had everything for miles around and left a simmering, scorching layer of radiation to last for the ages. The lucky ones were those right under the detonations who were immediately reduced to ashes and outlines etched in concrete. It was those who survived the initial blasts who learned the true meaning of suffering. They wandered around aimless, hopeless, with melting flesh, groping about in near or total blindness for help. None came, and that which did came too late, and with little or no means of alleviating their agony. The torture was not short lived. For years, even decades to some. Oh, no, to come. Those who had been exposed to the radiation suffered numbness, loss of fingernails, blood spots under their skin, tumors, leukemia, kidney and liver dysfunction, and so on. The list of after effects was almost endless, and for those who suffered from them, so was the pain. Such widespread and severe affliction hastened the sufferer of the Japanese forces, or surrender of the forces, and when the capitalization of the other Axis powers earlier in the year, the ceasing of worldwide hostilities was now complete. For the general populace, exhausted and depleted, it couldn't have come soon enough, and with the exception of a couple of skirmishes in Guam and a few other remote areas, peacetime was welcomed by victor and loser nations alike with great relief and vigor. But not by all. Wait, what? I'm kind of confused by that. It was like everybody, but not by all. Okay. Not everyone was pleased with either the outcome of the war or the means by which it had been achieved. There were some who believed that the Axis powers still retained the ability, the manpower, and most of all the technological savvy to inflict revolutionary damage on the Allied forces and alter not merely the outcome of the war, but both history and the future together. Suncorp was one such organization, a secretive, privately owned Japanese company based in Okinawa. It was bitterly opposed to the Japanese surrender and continued to work unabated in technological, ideological, and biological warfare. Though the rest of the country labored in poverty, Suncorp remained flushed with funds for its operations. A little-known fact regarding the end of the war in the European theater concerns the demise of the Führer. I don't know how they say that. Is it Führer? Okay. In that bunker in Berlin, just before he put the pistol to his temple, Hitler uttered his final words: "Give everything to Suncorp." As such, the Okinawa company had available to them near unlimited resources from war loot and retained communication with its sister allies in Germany and Italy to pursue the goals of supremacy. Given these objectives, one could hardly overstate the joy that oh boy, reverberate, oh my gosh, oh boy, I'm so ugly. I can't think of a synonym. I know the word, that reinforced, okay, along their corridors when they, received word from the fatherland that a new resource of immeasurable capacity had been secured. And so it was that Franciscus was removed from Indonesia at a very young age and transported to Okinawa, where he was to spend the remainder of his adolescent years. There, his name was shortened to Frank, because the Japanese seemed incapable of pronouncing the Siskis part of his name, and he was put in a lab working toward various means of Axis domination. Oof, that's a good question. I never understood how to speak Führer correctly. Okay, wait, so I don't know, is this before the, or during the war or after the war? Because, like, they established that, the Axis powers are still at work, yada yada yada, and oh no, because yeah, because Hitler said give everything to Suncorp, and then they got Frank. This enigma of a young man grew to about 180 centimeters tall and developed a well-defined body thanks to chasing monkeys and boars around the lab whenever they escaped, which was often. He would wrestle them to the ground or knock them out, sometimes with the aid of a porcelain sink, a trick he had learned from a Slav. Oh, that's like a Russian if you don't know the memes. Oh my gosh, I hate myself. He had a shock of thick black hair, which gave him an aura of tremendous virility. Okay. He wore silver wire rimmed glasses upon a nose that had more than once identified him as having Jewish ancestry. Oof, that's a stereotype. An association he vehemently denied. So he belongs in the Axis powers, I guess. This is during the war, right? That's what I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's after the war, though. I don't know. Because they said the Axis people were still trying to, or Suncorp was trying to still fight. I don't know. Frank's secluded upbringing gave him a peculiar perspective on the world. He tended to see people and events in extremes. Oof. Its extremes are bad. He divided folk into creators and consumers, leaders and followers. I can relate to that, actually. Creators and consumers. We're all consumers. We're just put here to consume the system. Leaders and followers, thinkers and dumbasses, and bullies and their prey. No one really sat in between any of these paradigms. People were either one or the other, and once they were one, it was virtually impossible to change to the other. Oof. So once you're a consumer, you can't create, and once you create, well, you ain't a consumer, baby, because you making that bank. Okay. Frank saw himself as the consummate creator, leader, thinker, bully in almost every environment he found himself in. Oh. You know what, I can think, you know what I know? I also know another word for creator, leader, thinker, bully. And it's just one word. Chad. Frank's a Chad. And then there was his voice. Much has been hypothesized about the raspiness of Frank's voice and why it came to be so. Some have assumed it to be a purely genetic anomaly. Others are certain it is the result of a bacterial infection caught from any number of the animals he was experimenting on. On occasions, Frank told people that it was from swallowing thumbtacks after losing a bet in a drunken stupor. But the truth of the matter is that for a short stint in Frank's formative years, here we go, he took to singing Christian heavy metal. What? I forgot what it was, but I didn't know it was that stupid. A phase he quickly grew out of, to the relief of everyone in the lab and the local area. But the constant shrieking and growling took its toll on poor Frank's virgin vocal cords, and alas, they never fully recovered. I don't know. It kind of draws parallels to YouTube, I guess. I don't know. But he was successful in YouTube, so like, it kind of doesn't. Young Frank had interests and ideals that extended way beyond the walls of the lab. He was fascinated with midgets and aliens and black people in Paris. Oh boy, like the Kanye song. Oh no. He found I'm laughing at the fact that it's a Kanye reference. He found unusual dialects from the Congo, Peru, and the bowels of Southeast Asia to be particular interest. Rap and opera. Okay, so like Kanye filled his musical library, and he developed a particular distaste for non-Japanese who attempted. Oh, so he hates weeaboos, and he developed a particular distaste for non-Japanese who attempted to infiltrate Japanese society, professing a knowledge of the culture whilst demonstrating a profound ignorance of it. There were many artisans and thinkers, musicians and poets who inspired him, but none more to the Schrödinger and some guy named Mozart, who down the line would become the ancestor of Fred Durst. Oof. I love Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit's not bad. What are you talking about? Oh wait, that's BRB. I'm gonna find more add-ons. Oof. I love Minecraft. Wait, I don't listen to Kanye. Which song? It's what is it? N-Words in Paradise. It's got Jay-Z in it. N-Words in Paradise. I can't believe I said that. Biologically speaking, Frank himself was, it turned out, an even more mysterious figure than his filthy origins would suggest. Though dredged up from an Indonesian sewer, DNA testing revealed that he was primarily of Japanese and German extraction. This explained some inherent traits in Frank, like his insatiable appetite for takoyaki. I don't know what that is. I don't even know if... Okay. Sudden bowing and penchant for Raggio Taozo early in the morning? Something. There's a lot of Japanese foods I don't know, I guess. I think it's Japanese. Wait. Oh yeah, it's either Japanese or German foods. On the kraut side, so this is German. Frank would immerse himself in bratwurst diets for weeks on end, find secret relief in listening to recordings of the Om Pa Pa bands of Munich, and was without any sense of humor. That's not funny. Yet there were other genetic markers in his DNA that were unidentifiable, and it was those which started the rumors and fears amongst his colleagues in the lab. There was only one man that Frank answered to in the lab, and that was Shubasha Honda. Honda was a graduate from Tokyo University who excelled in bioengineering. He originally joined the Imperial Army because, nurturing the psychopath within, he wanted to create bioweapons to, quote, see what happens with them. A quietly spoken man, he was once well built, yet now rather rotund as he approached middle age. So like he's older, he's like 50. It's a Japanese meatball, but with squid, I think? Huh. Interesting. He almost became a professional baseball player before the war, primarily because smashing things with a bat was marvelous release for someone who was otherwise extremely reserved. Yet he quit baseball at the last minute because he didn't want to give in to a dirty American tradition. Oh, it's like a Hideki Matsui. I think Hideki Matsui's Japanese. I know he played for the Yankees a long time ago. I don't know if he still plays. He's probably retired by now. Let's see. He quit baseball last minute because he didn't want to... Okay. When the war came to its fireball end, Honda was offered a job at Suncorp, a position he received with enthusiasm and gratitude as, philosophically, it involved continuing service to the Emperor and, in practical terms, it involved destroying things. His relationship to Frank was simple. In awe of Frank's genius and his moral failures, his job was to leave Frank alone and do the work that he had been specifically employed to do, and to question neither the Germans nor the Japanese board of Suncorp about it. In this sense, Honda was the perfect supervisor for Frank, loyal yet without ethics, nationalistic yet without any sense of restraint, and brilliant without any desire to use it for the greater good. Oof. There were 15 other employees in the lab to clean and to perform mundane duties, but to Frank they were all faceless drudges, as boring as a feminist at a dinner party. and about as funny as a fart in church. Oh. Yet there was one presence in that facility who stood out to Frank and who became very nearly the sole focus of his attention. His name was Icaro? Icaro mattered, not in the sense that he was important or intelligent or helpful. On the contrary, Icaro was a useless idiot. He was the very antithesis of Frank, the consuming dumbass follower type who was the prey for Frank's inner bully. That's a good callback. He was the necessary evil in Frank's small world, and Frank worked him without mind or mercy. A little contemptuous man with a basketball head and round glasses. Wait, so like, if he had a basketball head, would that mean like he also has like the ridges, like he has a lot of acne too? Like I can picture like this guy with a round head, like maybe a weak chin too, since it's so round. And then I guess it'd have acne because of like the ridges. I don't know. But then if you were to have like little bumps on the ball, you'd also have to have like the black lines that separate the ball into those little slices, I guess. I don't know. Maybe this is me just trying to over visualize, I guess. Oh, I like my books. Nice picture painting. Okay. Where was I? Oof. Okay, I was at the beginning of the paragraph. And round glasses, he looked like some kind of bootleg Japanese Harry Potter doll you would win at a second-rate carnival. He had "Kick Me" written all over his fat, poxy face. Oh, so yeah, I guess I was right. Simply put, he looked fucking retarded. That sounded like Monkey Jones. Icaro, or is it Ichiro? It's either or. I'm just going to say Icaro because I think I've been saying Icaro. Was Frank's whipping boy, his dog, his right hand whip wiper. In almost every sense of the word, Icaro was Frank's bitch. This explains why Frank never referred to him by the name his mother gave him at his sorry birth, but called him, without exception, Bitchero. Okay, so it's Ichiro. Whenever Frank wanted someone to pick up the pieces of a rat, he would bellow for Bitchero. If he needed a bottle to piss in, Bitchero would hold it at the ready. Bitchero, hand me the generator. I don't blame you for visualizing it. When it mentioned basketball head, I immediately thought of an actual basketball for a head. Bitchero, pick up the spleen. Bitchero, stick that knife into the toaster. Oh no. With every command, Bitchero would bow and scrape and respond with, "My name a Bitchero?" Oh my gosh. I love these. I love that. Oh, I love the "My name is Jeff" callback. Oh, that's awesome. And whenever Frank defecated, he would watch as his turd was flushed away and say, "Goodbye, Bitchero." The laboratory itself was like no other, a perfectly square, gray building. It looked like a rundown Japanese public school. There was nothing in its design to please or inspire, save for a few palm trees which grew on the boundaries of the property. Rising up behind it was a mountain range covered in Jurassic vegetation and still unclassified fauna? Something. It teemed with monkeys, boar, and habu snakes. Habu. Yet most of its natural resources remain undiscovered. The building contained 3 floors, with the top floor at treetop height. Vines and other vegetation ran along the outside wall of the lab, weaving in and out of the windows and ventilation systems which no longer worked. The sultry air was a perfect incubator for all this foliage and a common source of fatigue amongst the employees of any given afternoon. I wonder if that was picked up by the mic. The cover, like the plastic cover of the book got caught on my arm in my sweat, and it made like one of those sticker sounding things, like a shh, like when you rip a sticker off. That would have been gross if my mic picked it up. The top floor was all Frank's, and he was given unfettered access to complete his tasks. It contained line after line of computers and various other equipment, most of which no one other than Frank knew how to operate. But Frank, with an intellect that itself was fast approachingly singularity, ran them all with ease and with distinction. His preferred fields of research were diverse, including bacteriology, horology, pharmacology, biochemistry, cosmology, endocrinology, spectroscopy, mycology, and of course, that's probably something to do with genitals. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Gelatology? I don't know. I skipped a lot of stuff. But if there were it just went on about ologies. But I mean, that's probably important. I don't think that what he studied was important actually, so who cares? But if there were a pet area of research and design that meant more to Frank than any other, it was radiobiology. That is the study of the action of ionizing radiation on living things. Oh, this is where he gets his chromosomes. As such, the lab was strewn with cages containing or which contained animals of all sizes and kinds. Primates, birds, reptiles, amphibians, insects were all loved equally for their willingness to serve a greater good. Presently, a small newt, like Newt Gingrich, I just remember that guy's first name, I don't know much about him, sat gingerly in the corner of a clear container, occasionally looking up at Frank as its god and scratching its chest. And then there were the rats. Frank hated rats with a passion and found a great pleasure in reserving his most terrifying experiments for them. Most moved about in their confinement with knowing concern, while others were no longer able to, and some were no more than organs or appendages on the table. On more than one occasion, Frank would tie a rat to 3 or 4, oh no, I think I remember this, 3 or 4 pigeons, then release them to the skies. Okay, no, I was thinking something else. The pigeon would fly off in different directions. Wait, oh no, okay. Frank would tie a rat to 3 or 4 pigeons, then release them to the skies. Okay, I was thinking it was multiple rats to one pigeon. Okay. The pigeons would fly off in different directions, tugging the rat back and forth in midair. Oh, the rat would be wreathing and screaming. The birds would be scared to death of the noise the rat was making and fly even harder, which made the rat's screams reach fever pitch, and so the circus was go until it came to its grisly demise. Frank would just shrug and chuckle. These episodes marked the beginning, and indeed, the socially repressive lab life began to take its toll on Frank. He would drink copious amounts of beer and then abuse the animals in the lab for what he claimed was a node. Yeah. He would disappear for hours on end in the evenings to go to dog fights, cockfights, bullfights, and midget boxing. Can't have midgets fight, no. What's with the midget obsession? There's a lot of midgets in this. He would drunkenly harass the hookers in the red light district, yelling, "I got Molly, I got White," and "Gang, gang." Oh no, he says the N-word. I think this is my favorite part so far. Okay, he would say, "I got Molly, I got White," and "Gang, gang, free my N-word." Oh boy, I just had a rise of fear from that. Goo-wop. No, I don't know who that. While being dragged away by the police and or the off-base U.S. military. In short, while Frank was a genius and a biological phenomena, his environment was making him filthy. Yet the greater change was from within. Frank had been pouring his heart and soul into radiobiology, and all the while, unwittingly, he poured radiobiology into his genetic vulnerabilities. See the paragraph? No. There's one paragraph that's like it's not indent. No, they're all not indent. This isn't like separated by a space. The interaction of radiation on the unknown genetic markers in Frank's DNA brought about changes which Frank could never have imagined. Dark changes, menacing changes, changes that reached far further than Frank could ever have imagined. At first, it was just aches and pains, but then his urine turned orange. That's not a big deal. It's already yellow. It's not much of a change. And he began to have hallucinations, sometimes happy, sometimes terrible, sometimes or always weird. Aware of these changes, Frank decided to secretly test himself, certain that he now had some form or forms of cancer. It was not without fear then that he laid the syringe on the table, sterilized his arm with a swab of alcohol, and slapped his skin to bring up the veins. On finding the best one, he slipped the needle in and watched the red essence fill the test tube. He filled a second just in case, before the blood on his arm had dried. He had the sample mixed with testing solutions and placed under a microscope. There, to his horror, he watched nucleic acids behave in a way that he had never seen before. They were writhing, I don't know, and then pulling apart as though in self-rejection, before completely splitting down the middle, a process which appeared to be repeating there's no N and. Infinitum. Oh, wait. To be repeating ad infinitum. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know. This discovery made cancer look like a common cold. Oof. With cancer, the cells multiply uncontrollably. With Frank, his chromosomes were now multiplying uncontrollably. He was, in effect, becoming an entirely new species. He continued to look into the eyepiece, hoping that this was another hallucination. He called his little rodent friend over to confirm the findings. "Bichero, get over here." He was in front of Frank immediately. "Look into this microscope and tell me what you see." "My name is Bichero." "Well, what do you see? Don't hold back. Tell me everything." The simpleton began to sweat and look decidedly nervous. "My name is Bichero." "So you see it too?" Frank asked. "You see the chromosomes multiplying." Bichero could no longer control his bladder. "My name is Bichero, my name is Bichero." Frank turned away to distress for a moment, then looked back to his underling and held out a stern figure. "No one hears about this, Bichero. You got that? No one is to know." "My name is Bichero." "If anyone at all gets wind of this, I will stew you up and serve you with fries while you're still breathing." "My name is Bichero. Now, what are you still doing here?" "Piss off." The weasel scampered off with one last "My name is Bichero." "I'm back. What's up, Godzilla boy?" Frank diligently took samplings every morning and evening and kept daily notes on the process of his condition. What he failed to do, however, primarily because he just didn't care, was test Bichero, who had been regularly exposed to the uranium. "Bichero, bring me the sea cucumber," he called to him one fine morning. "My name is Bichero." Frank looked at his little dolt as he held the dripping ectoderm in his trembling hands. Bichero looked different this morning. He had an aura of greater patheticness, greater nervousness, as though he was expecting to be beaten far greater than he had ever been beaten before. Frank enjoyed his enormously, or this enormously, wow. It's getting pretty late for me, so I'm going to leave after the end of this chapter. We're almost done. It's been pretty good though. All right, Ender. My name a what? Said Frank. Spit it out, boy. My name a What in the name of scat is wrong with you? My name and before he could get any more out, his head jerked back in such a violent manner the crack in his neck could be heard down on the second floor, with a sound like the branch of a tree breaking. His jaw and mouth ripped apart with such incredible force that the crown of his head began to split open. There was momentarily resistance before Bichiro's entire body, from his head down to the base of his torso, ripped in two, and a new naked and slimy Bichiro emerged, slithering out of what was now a crumpled carcass laying on the floor. Said Frank. Cool. He then turned to continue on his own testing. My name is Bichiro, said this new Bichiro. Identical to the previous one, though still covered in thick slime. Yeah, I know, said Frank. Now piss off. This metamorphosis was now a singular, or not a singular event. In fact, Bichiro fast fell into a natural routine of excruciating death and slimy rebirth once a week or so, and Frank, more amused than concerned in any way at all, would take fastidious notes each time it happened. His concern remained more for himself. He knew that he and Bichiro were changing. The only difference was that no one cared about Bichiro, and as soon as Manema Bichiro had completed the metamorphosis, Frank would tell him to hurry and clean up the mess he had made on the floor and to incinerate the putrid carcass that he always left behind. Alright, that was chapter 2. Frank works with Nazis, yada yada yada. There's Bichiro. He says my name is Bichiro, like my name is JF. I wonder if... Nah, Bichiro probably doesn't look like anything for views because he's small and has a basketball head. Oh boy. Alright, chapter 3. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Frank was beginning to get very tired of sitting by his assistant in the lab and having nothing particular to do other than radiobiology experiments. Actually, I should have probably checked. That was intense. Oh, we've only been streaming for over an hour? Okay. That's alright. I was thinking it was like 3 hours. I don't know, reading always feels like it takes long. Once or twice he had peeped into his journals, or those of others, but nothing much took his interest or shook his world. He kept a small ancient wireless on one of the windowsills of the third floor. He loved the juxtaposition of such a crackly old piece of equipment, having a place amidst the hum of all the latest technology. The weather report sputtered to life in the fading afternoon light as Frank turned the volume up. Typhoon, he heard. Massive. The wind, rain, and tsunami warnings. This would explain the cool gusts which had started to blow and the metallic smell of immense rain. Immediate rain? Frank looked out the open window at all the foliage. It would be grateful for the downpour it was about to receive. The jungle behind the lab fell into an eerie silence, literally the calm before the storm, as all the animals burrowed their way into holes and crevices and knots and cracks, behavior not unlike Frank's. Sirens from the military bases began to wail in the distance as if to herald some ominous calamity. Wow. Alright, see caboose, good reading. Yes. This was actually truer than most would realize. Frank, cause Chin Chin's coming, or something's coming. I think it's Chin Chin, or a portal. that Chin Chin makes. Frank woke the next morning badly hungover after a harrowing night of tempest. The typhoon, I think I'm saying it right. Typhoon had fully passed, leaving a whisper quiet and sunny dawn. Groaning, he slowly sat up to recollect the previous night's antiques before the tranquility was shattered by the rumble of vehicles approaching the compound. He squinted through the slats of the blind as a beam of light shot through. He adjusted his eyes to see 4 large army jeeps and a tank pull up in front of the lab. Even from the 3rd floor he could hear the thumping on the door. Who the fuck is in charge, and do any of you Japs speak English here? At that moment, Honda ran through the lab door and looked at Frank alarmingly. I do not speak English, he said with beads of sweat growing above his eyebrows. I need you to take care of this. Gathering his thoughts, Frank nodded and made a dismissive waving gesture to Honda, implying that he would handle it. The banging on the door got louder as he trotted down the concrete stairs. Frank opened the door to see Sergeant Benson, a large man with a beer gut and a piggish face staring at him. His nose was as red as a strawberry, and his eyebrows were intense, as if he were about to eat the meanest ass of all time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Do you own this facility? He bellowed. No, sir. This facility is run by my supervisor, Mr. Mazuki Honda. Okay. Frank looked over at Honda, who gave him a firm nod. We're a private research facility. We're a private research facility in the mountains of Okinawa. Benson asked, smiling as if he had found something good. Yes, documents. Now, may I ask why you are visiting? I said documents. Juno's Jap. Ooh. Are you fucking deaf? Okay, This guy's edgy. I was talking about me. I'm super edgy. Wow. I'll get them right away, sir. Frank rushed back to his lab and hid whatever evidence he could. Bichero, I need to give them our documents. Hide everything. My name is Bichero, he replied. Frank returned with his passport, some files containing the breeding habits of starfish in the Ryukyu waters, and the results of the weekend boat races in Osaka. Benson perused the documents. Well, shit, boys. We hit the jackpot. We got ourselves a Japanese German. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. The soldiers standing behind Benson smirked and widened their eyes. I don't see an issue here, sir, Frank said. Why would they have a Japanese German working in a lab like this in Akihekinawa? We are privately owned. We do peaceful scientific research. What exactly do you do? Cancer research, sir, since, you guys really fucked us with that whole radiation thing. Aw. Don't get smart with me. Benson ran the clip of his rifle into the back of Frank's head and he fell to his knees. He held Frank's head up by jamming the forestock of the rifle into his neck. Frank's nose began to bleed. You're the two things I hate most combined into one, you sorry son of a bitch. And whatever the fuck is going on in here, I don't like it. He then spat in Frank's face and walked out of the room. I'll be back, he said as he kicked a table over. After the rumbles of the jeeps faded into the distance, Honda came back into the room. I'm terribly sorry you had to go through that, he said as he handed Frank a tissue to mop up his bloody nose. Oh, wait. Why are there quotations here? Okay. People fear and despise what they don't understand, Frank said, as he stood and put an ice pack to his head wound. He was raised that way, all like an American. I cannot blame a man for his upbringing. Honda nodded and looked down at his feet. Plus, next time I'll be ready to fight back. He took me by surprise. That won't be necessary, Honda interrupted quickly. Benson will do whatever he can to have this place shut down. If you know weakness and fight back, if you show weakness and fight back, he can cancel all operations here for unruly conduct. We are a private company, after all. We would hate to see all our funding, not to mention your talents, go to waste. Frank tasted blood in his mouth. He was biting his lip out of frustration. Fair enough, I will continue as planned. I will continue as planned. From that day, Sergeant Benson came every week without fail. The only surprise was the time of day. Sometimes he'd kick the door in at the crack of dawn. At other times, it was right in the middle of dinner. On the odd occasion, he would enter through the back door at midnight. Regardless of the time. Ooh, I just shut the book on myself. He would constantly hold a gun up to Frank's face and proceed to turn the lab inside out. Benson knew something was up, and he didn't like it. He was totally obsessive about it. Even the other soldiers viewed Benson's frequent visits as a financial hate crime. There we go. He kept saying, a Jap German in Okinawa working with radiation. Does that not sound suspicious to you at all? Frank was rarely the sole target. He would sometimes terrorize Bichuro, bombarding him with questions. Who the fuck are you? My name is Bicharo. Do you speak English? My name is Bicharo. Yes, I know. My name is Bicharo. What the fuck? My name is Bicharo. What is wrong with this guy? My name is Bicharo. Shut the fuck up. My name is Bicharo. 2 months after the first visit, Benson drove up to the compound more aggressively than normal. He stormed out of his jeep and burst through the door holding his rifle. It was quite clear that he had been drinking. Uh-oh. How long do we got on this one? 36. I'm on 30, so 6 pages. You two, up against the wall, he yelled at 2 young employees, no older than 24. They did as they were told and lined up. Benson, you can bully me all you want, but please don't bring the employees into this, Frank calmly said. They're just janitors. How come I never see your notes or clipboards lying around anywhere, Frank, you autist? Oh no, Benson replied. We mail them off to HQ every day. Where is your HQ? I don't know, Sergeant Benson. Bullshit. And stop twitching your fingers like that. I really don't know, sir. It's classified. I don't see any point to your research, Frank. You can't cure cancer. I believe we can. I also believe our nations can help each other with this new research. Yeah, when pigs fly. Oof. And that's a lot of like references to pigs. Benson looks like a pig and he says when pigs fly. I wonder if I wrote that down, cause that sounds familiar. Yeah, who am I heckin' kidding? You'll never. Oh, that's why I wrote it down. That's why I wrote it down, cause the follow up. Yeah, who am I fucking kidding? You'll never fly. Benson's eyes widened and his lips stiffened, and that very moment, for the first time in his life, Frank regretted his sharp wit. This is your fault, you're doing, Benson said as he lifted his rifle and shot both the employees multiple times in the chest. Oof. It's like when Dr. Frankenstein gets killed by Joe Pilato. What's his name? Whatever. Joe Pilato's character in Day of the Dead. I just picture that. You're wasting my time. I want to know what the fuck you're doing in here, Dr. Frankenstein. You're wasting my time. Ba 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 ba. This is your a canvas of blood splattered across the gray concrete wall. Frank watched their bodies drop on top of each other. Honda was looking out the window, waiting for the nightmare to end. Next time, it'll be you and your little Bichiro friend. Benson began to head out. I would have killed you, but I like to see you suffer. He and the other soldiers strutted out. Ooh, strut. They strutted out. Bunch of sexy soldiers. Sexy soldiers. The joke would have been funny if I didn't stutter. Yeah, it was just... I cringed. I would have cringed too if I were you. Leaving the lab, pin dropped quiet. They'd all seen death before, but not in a while. For Frank, it brought back with a scream all the suicides he'd been in Okinawa. He'd seen in Okinawa during the war. Line after line of men, women, and even children taking their own lives rather than suffer at the hands of the enemy. Oh, because, like, eh, harakiri, like that, I guess? I don't know. Frank saw this so vividly he began to tremble. Everyone immediately went back to work. It was all they could do. Hey, boy, said Bichiro. Frank buried. Hey, boy. Frank buried both of the employees later that night. He didn't ask anyone to help because he felt responsible for their deaths. It was still typhoon season. Typhoon. I don't know what a typhoon is. I think it was explained too. It's just like a hurricane or something. I don't know. Tropical storm. I don't know. And it had just stopped raining a few hours before. It made the soil soft and easy to dig through. Frank took a break from the shovel and looked over at the bodies. They were pale and limp. He laughed. It was the defense mechanism that worked for him. It's all cancer. Everything is fucking cancer, he said, laughing to himself. I work with cancer, act like cancer, and by saying cancer, I get people killed. I am cancer. His laughter echoed up into the mountains, and all the chirping crickets and birds went dead silent. He continued digging. Frank wasn't afraid of Benson, but he was afraid of not being able to complete his research. But he knew that the moment it was done, he would have his revenge on Benson. I'll fucking kill him, Frank would say to Bichiro after another one of Benson's weekly visits. After we complete the research and take back our land, I will literally slit his throat in front of his wife and children. Saying things like that made him feel better and motivated him to finish his work. If he ever felt discouraged at any point during the day, he would daydream about his blissful release that would come with murdering Benson. Oh my gosh. Pig-face Benson. What would his blood taste like? Would his children die too? Would his wife's pussy be tight? All kinds of dark questions swam through his head. Frank would spend every day by the graves watering a couple of flowers that had managed to sprout from the compost. Frank never cared for other people. In fact, he didn't even know the names of the 2 employees buried in front of him. I don't care about these people. Why am I still here every day? Frank asked as Honda emerged from the trees. You're a compassionate person who was driven to narcissism by your environment. You care, but only because you're responsible for the deaths. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an issue. Frank laughed. Yes, I'm quite rotten. Quite filthy. Bichiro would have died instead. Or Bichiro should have died instead. They both laughed. Ay, said Bichiro from inside the building. Listen, Mr. Honda, I need to tell you something, but you can't tell the board until I've completed my research. Honda was listening. I am most likely dying. At first, I thought my cells were multiplying at a rapid rate, but I discovered that it is actually my chromosomes which are splitting. He went on in detail that night, explaining everything to Honda about his research to date. I've never heard of chromosomes duplicating before, said Honda. That should instantly kill you. It doesn't matter, said Frank. We can use your gift for other things. There is no point in attempting to create a weapon that may or may not work if there's a chance of you dying before that. We should get you out of this lab right away, especially away from Benson. I'm going to die anyway. At least let me finish my research. I know I was born to finish this. I'll leave blueprints to a wiser generation. He never got the chance. It began in the midnight hour of a Tuesday. Frank, watching Flem react to bursts of radiation, suddenly got mind-splitting headaches. Clutching his cranium, he dropped to his knees and let out an agonizing cry before staggering to the refrigerator and grabbing a bottle of milk. He quickly downed it before collapsing onto the bed to sleep. But sleep was his tormentor that night. As he tossed back and forth, the nightmares came to him. These are not, however, your run-of-the-mill nightmares of falling or being chased or drowning or of clowns. If only Frank were to escape that lightly. These nightmares were so vivid it was impossible to distinguish night from day, spirit from matter, or reality from virtuality. The pain inside his fracturing head was unbearable. And then they came. Numbers, clusters of numbers, tumbled across his field of vision. Stream after stream of them. Oh, like a live stream? He had no idea what they were or what they meant. He only knew that there was no escaping them, for the fear that manifested when they came. For hours Frank would lie, rigid with terror, watching the numbers scroll and hoping with all his heart that they would stop. Occasionally in the dreams he would also see images, a silhouette, I don't know, a tree on a hilltop, a dark figure of unknown origin, and nature would clearly powerful and mighty. This dark, fearful form. It's Chin Chin, right? Fearful form was fused to the tree as though crucified on it. Repressed by it, yet somehow sustaining it. The image conveyed an ancient mystery, tragic and formidable, of agony and wonder, and it horrified Frank to his very core. In the end, he would wake in the morning light, feeling a sense of total depletion, and lie until his strength returned. And when it did, and he needed to unleash his fear and frustration at the visitations, Bichara was there. The nightmares lasted for months and drove Frank to the brink of insanity. Had it not been for Bichara's persistent presence, Frank would have slid into certain madness. Yet there was another element to the nightmares that brought a slither of intrigue amidst the dread that Frank experienced. Every night the nightmares would conjure up their numbers, but Frank began to notice that it was the same number segments being revealed to him each time. Whoa, if I was dreaming number segments, I wouldn't be able to remember them. I mean, maybe for months. Maybe if they gave me the numbers. What a Black Ops reference. It was the same number segments being revealed to him each time. He began to agonize over them, analyzing them, reciting them, but their meaning eluded him. One night, tormented by the nightmares, Frank resisted the urge to go into town and hustle, and instead spent the evening crunching the numbers once again. Yet, his inability to decipher them was more than his erratic... Ooh, your night mind could handle... I don't know that word. He began to smash beakers and test tubes around the lab, and overturning equipment and hurling animals. Bichero was madly trying to clean up after him. In his fury, Frank was unaware of the gash that had opened down the side of his hand, or of the blood that was streaming from it. He began to spin in circles, reciting the numbers over and over. The claret flowed from his wound, forming a circle of crimson on the ground around him. Oh, yeah, this comes in handy later in the book. He's bleeding from his gash, and he's turning like 360s, like he's making 360s, so he's making a circle of blood around him. Again and again, he intoned the numbers, spinning and recalling and chanting. All of a sudden, the floor beneath him began to rumble and pitch. The tilting cracked and the walls split. The ceiling caved in, first in small clusters, then in huge panels. Enormous steel beams fell to the ground, smashing everything beneath them. The lights on the ceiling flickered off, but an ethereal, maybe that's what the word is, ethereal from earlier, luminance, now coming from a source beyond the lab, remained. A violent shaking and a howling wind followed, from which deep chasms opened up all around him, and the equipment, the lab animals, and the flooring crumbled away. The very foundations of the facility became brittle and started to break, dropping away into the darkness below. The noise which accompanied all of this was thunderous, shattering eardrums and arresting hearts, as though a trumpet heralding an apocalypse. The world, as they all known it, ceased to be, exterminated in seconds. Bichero clung for his life to an ultra something that stubbornly held to Frank's central work station. My name is Bichero, my name is Bichero. He screamed with wild eyes. Nothing remained of the lab but the circle of flat flooring that Frank was standing on, still encrusted in crimson, and that was fast fragmenting under his feet. Everything then fell away completely into infernal suffering. A thick, soapy darkness surrounded him, and deformed hands, aged and tormented, reached up from it. Oh, it's kind of like in JoJo Part 4, in the alleyway. If you look back, voices called in falsetto screams and guttural moans, begging for release and salvation. The awful cacophony of destruction had subsided, leaving the eerie sound vacuum which amplified the cries of the tormented souls. A chilly wind blew the contorted limbs and distorted heads with their unhinged jaws, stitched up eyes, and melting flesh were of human and beastly forms. Their only fellowship began in their writhing and their agony. Wreathing. Again and again, they desperately reached up, flinching and twitching in rage and wretchedness. Plums of toxic odors, acidic and pungent to the very back of the throat, wafted up in ever greater dispersions. There seemed to be a lawlessness to the senses, so that what couldn't be seen could also be felt. What could be heard could be tasted, and what could be smelt could be seen. As such, the sulfuric stench contained an anemic glow which rose up into what had until very recently been air, giving everything a dull, rotting appearance. It seeped into every crevice and orifice. Screaming was one's only release. Yet it only served to exacerbate the suffering. Jerry Smith Egg. What's up, Jerry? How you doing? Other than Frank, Bichero was the last semblance of life to remain. Chest deep in damnation, he held fast to Frank's ankle, but the soulless hands were on him and around him. Oh, like Yoshikage Kira. Yay! Pulling at him, wrenching his garments and gouging their gnarled digits deep into his flesh. The young turd had fight in him. My name is Bicharo, my name is Bicharo. He continued to shriek. He swung wildly at the ogres and even tried to bite them, but it had no effect other than to further excite them. In the end, their appendages entered his ears, his mouth, and his eyes, and with one final shake of his leg, Frank flicked him off into the abyss for good. He fell into the darkness with a final blood-curdling, "My name is Bicharo!" An overriding sense of misery extinguished any remaining flicker of hope or reprieve for Frank. He looked up into the portal that was opening above him, a circle of ominous light. It was in no way inviting and invoked terror almost equal to that of the blackness beneath him. He feared for his life to enter the gateway, but the overriding dread of the engulfing abyss below, with its fill of destitute souls and screaming remorse, left him no choice. He would go. He raised his palms and ceased to resist. Habere, I don't know what that is, he said, and then he was gone. It was a different language, so I don't know what it means. Oof. So that was chapter 3, and I'm gonna stop for tonight. What is it? 99? Oh, 100 minutes. Nice. So we'll pick up. I don't know when the next day will be. Maybe I feel like Thursday might be a good day for Let's Reads. I'm not sure just yet. But stay tuned for the next part or the next stream of Let's Read Francis of the Filth Part 2. Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention at the beginning of the stream. I had a feeling someone was going to mention TV Filthy Frank too.